The path to the top of boxing is not easy. Often, two rivals with similar profiles must face each other to determine who takes the next step and who lags behind. Within the boxing universe, Tyson is one of the brightest stars. However, there were those who doubted his potential in the early days, denying him the opportunity to fulfill one of his greatest dreams. This only served as motivation to ignite the fire that would burn down all the opponents he had to face after that moment. But there was one, in particular, that will always remain in Mike's memory: Tyrell Biggs. Watch until the end to find out why Tyson trained for years to defeat Tyrell and how it all played out when, after humiliations and taunts, they finally faced each other in the ring. From a young age, Tyson presented himself as a true beast in the ring. However, he rarely felt antipathy towards his opponents outside of it. No matter how tough the punishment he dished out to his adversaries during battles, when they ended, he extended his hand as a symbol of sympathy and respect for his fellow boxer. But there was one opponent he came to hate, one with whom he seized the opportunity to step into the ring and unleash all the anger he had been holding onto for years. Tyrell Biggs may hold the title of the only opponent Tyson truly despised, not for his boxing abilities or as a threat, but for his big mouth, which he used to humiliate Mike on more than one occasion. It all began when both were amateur boxers with qualities that set them apart from the rest, so it was no surprise when they both considered themselves for the U.S. Olympic team. The differences between Tyson and Biggs were mostly physical. Being taller and more robust, Tyrell gave the impression of being a tougher opponent to beat. However, the great Iron Mike, from the beginning, worked diligently to turn his physical limitations into his best attributes, allowing him to defeat giants when it seemed like he was the underdog. The Olympic team failed to see the advantages a shorter fighter like Tyson could offer and chose to include Biggs among its members, robbing Iron Mike of any chance to win an Olympic medal. It was one of the toughest moments in Tyson's early career. His dreams of standing on the Olympic podium had been shattered, and he knew he wanted to prove that the great Tyrell Biggs was not his equal in the boxing ring. Tyrell stoked the flames of antipathy that had begun smoldering inside Tyson when, in 1984, he took the opportunity to mock him in front of the entire U.S. Olympic boxing team and other people in the room. Demonstrating the great humility that characterized Tyson, he approached to wish his potential teammates a safe journey, and Biggs couldn't keep his mouth shut, so he ended up saying, mockingly, that he didn't know who Tyson was, but he was clear he wouldn't be getting on the plane with them. The insult, which could have passed as a simple joke, sank deep into Tyson's mind and heart, and the desire to prove himself as good as Tyrell turned almost instantly into the desire for revenge against someone who had underestimated and publicly humiliated him. Jumping ahead in time, Tyson would have the opportunity to face his nemesis, Tyrell Biggs, on October 16, 1987. Once the fight was agreed upon, Tyrell seized the opportunity to fuel the excitement surrounding the contest and revive an old rivalry by making public statements where he continued to try to humiliate Tyson. However, the great Iron Mike knew he had to let his fists do the talking, and he didn't want to spoil the excitement of the audience by announcing how he would win. But even the noble heart of a noble warrior like Tyson couldn't help but harden due to the hatred he felt for a big talker like Tyrell Biggs, which he channeled to explode against him that night. Tyrell entered the ring undefeated, with a record of 15 wins, 10 of them by knockout. Fans and expert commentators considered him the ideal opponent for Iron Mike. Tyson entered the arena with his titles, like a true champion, sending a clear message to Biggs that if he wanted to beat him, he would have to be as good as his attempts to humiliate him. Tyson's record was twice that of Biggs, even though he was 5 years younger. Not only was Tyson also undefeated, but he had won 31 fights at that point, with 27 of them by knockout. Anyone who experienced defeat that night would remember their opponent as the man who ended their winning streak, fueling the mutual hatred between them. With the first bell, what many would call the event of the year began. But for Tyson and Biggs, it was the opportunity to finally prove who the better boxer was. Tyson came out of his corner with the aggression he was known for, while Biggs used his footwork to avoid the attacks Iron Mike had contained for years. Tyson didn't seem intimidated by the physical qualities that had favored Biggs when he was chosen for the Olympic team years ago, and he set the pace of the fight in the first round.
He's trying for the head. Now we're seeing head.
During the second round, Tyson, the Beast, actively pursued his prey around the ring, seeking the opportunity to land punches to Biggs's head and upper body. Biggs couldn't evade forever, and with 30 seconds left in the round, he had to endure a significant combination of blows from the man who had said he lacked what it took to hurt him.
Right hand does the most damage.
There was a big right hand.
Now, Georgie Bennett will say, keep those hands high.
By the third round, Tyson's strategy was becoming clear. He was directing most of his attacks to Biggs's body to wear him down and seek a knockout victory in the later rounds. However, Biggs, an Olympic champion, seemed to have run out of ideas on how to handle an opponent of Iron Mike's stature and assumed a defensive posture.
Pointed out before the fight, and now Tyson just hammered.
In the fourth and fifth rounds, Tyson made significant advances in his attempts to weaken Biggs, who, when feeling cornered, launched himself at Mike's body in an attempt to stop the punishment and create some distance between them. The quality of the occasional attacks Biggs launched was not comparable to the onslaught he was receiving from the opponent he had underestimated and mocked for years. Every jab or uppercut Tyson threw surely struck a blow to the ego of the Olympic champion, whose medal did not exempt him from receiving the fury of a true warrior.
Tyrell Biggs now. Start throwing some uppercuts.
He took a big left hand there.
The physical wear and tear that Tyson had planned from the early rounds of the fight began to show on Biggs's body during the sixth and seventh rounds. By this point in the contest, one of them was actively seeking victory, while the other was trying to stay on his feet for as long as possible. Biggs entered the seventh round with a high risk of not completing it, and Tyson knew it. What neither could imagine was that Mike's intelligent strategy would materialize when, just over 30 seconds from the end of the round, he landed the punch that sent the great Tyrell Biggs falling backward onto the canvas.
And there's a right hand that just caught Biggs. But he didn't put him away.
The elbow there. Oh, that
was a tremendous left hand.
Tyson, the smaller man in size, nearly knocked Biggs, the taller man, out of the ring. He was caught by the ropes, and the audience couldn't believe what they were witnessing. The entire arena was stunned by the incredible feat. Near the end of the count, Tyrell Biggs's pride forced him to get back up, and the referee confirmed that he was capable of continuing the battle. But he had run out of cards to play, and in less than 10 seconds, due to a powerful combination of punches characteristic of the great Iron Mike, he was once again lying on the canvas. The referee immediately signaled that there was nothing to be done. With no count of safety, it became evident that the big talker Biggs was out of the fight and was not on Tyson's level. While Tyson was celebrated as a true champion, Biggs needed assistance to get back up and leave the ring, but his head hung low. Everyone acknowledged the great performance Mike had delivered from the first round, and everyone would remember this bout as the day Tyrell Biggs couldn't live up to his words. It's fair to say that of the many times Mike Tyson tasted victory, this could have been one of the times when he felt the sweetest. What started as a challenge to beat the boxer who had been chosen before him to fulfill his dream of standing on the Olympic podium later turned into a personal vendetta, materializing years later. It proved to everyone that Biggs's physical attributes meant nothing against Tyson and that his words didn't hurt him like the punches that had brought him down. Now that you know the story, do you think that the small stature of the great Iron Mike was really an advantage he used throughout his career, or was it his combat intelligence that always favored him in knowing when and where to attack his opponents? We'll be reading your comments.